This question asks, which of the following represents the correct circulation of blood through the body? So we have four different choices here, A through D. Okay, remember RA represents right atrium, RV right ventricle, PA pulmonary arteries, lungs, PV is pulmonary vein, LA left atrium, LV left ventricle, AO is the aorta, then we have the body, IVC and SVC, or inferior and superior vena cava, and the right atrium. So let's kind of go through this flow, okay? So what we have to know is this is a one closed system of blood flow throughout the body, okay? From it going from deoxygenated to oxygenated. So we have to know that system. So knowing that blood coming from the lower extremities, okay, that is deoxygenated, so deoxygenated blood, and from the upper extremities comes to the IVC and SVC, so inferior and superior vena cava, to the right atrium. So this is deoxygenated blood, okay, and then from there passes through this tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. So this is the RV, through the pulmonic valve into the pulmonary artery, and then here are our lungs. This is where the blood gets oxygenated, okay, and then from that portion comes all the way back here to through the pulmonary veins into the left atrium. So here's our left atrium. This is now oxygenated blood, okay, passing through our mitral valve into our left ventricle, out our aortic valve to the aorta, and then this then goes to the rest of the body, okay, and then from the rest of the body it then circulates back through the system. So you can see this is a one closed loop system that we have going on here. So we have to now find which is the best choice here, okay, of those written. So because there's so many choices, let's write it out ourselves. And it seems like all of them start with the right atrium, except these two, the right ventricle. So let's start and look at the first two. If we should go through there, okay? Well, you should already notice that going from the right atrium to the right ventricle is the first in the proper way. So notice that these choices say going from the right ventricle to the right atrium, which is in fact not true, okay? It should be the right atrium to the right ventricle. So C and D are already wrong, and you may have noticed that they also mentioned the LV, left ventricle, to the left atrium in both of these, okay, which again is the opposite. As we know, it goes from left atrium to left ventricle. So we have right atrium to right ventricle, okay, through that tricuspid valve. Then we go to our pulmonic valve to our pulmonary arteries, okay, and from there we go to the lungs. Okay, so as you can see, to our lungs here, we come back through the pulmonary veins, and then we go to the left atrium, to the left ventricle, and that goes through our mitral valve. From our left ventricle, we go out our aorta, okay, AO, and then we said it goes to the body, and then from the body, it goes through our IVC and SVC, depending where it's coming from. This is deoxygenated blood taken up by the muscles, so IVC and SVC, and then you can see it returns to our right atrium, okay, and the cycle then continues. So we have to choose the right answer here, okay? So of these, which one is correct? Well, the correct answer will be choice A, all right? And why is that? Well, notice that we go from the right atrium, right ventricle, and then pulmonary artery, okay? And this says the pulmonary vein, which is not correct, okay? It switches these two, but in fact, we go from the pulmonary artery to the lungs and then pulmonary veins. Remember, arteries, you can think of it, this A takes blood away from the heart, okay? And this is the right ventricle taking blood away from the heart to the lungs, and the veins are bringing blood back, okay? The pulmonary veins are doing so, and that's why you have that. So again, the correct flow is from our right atrium to our right ventricle, to our pulmonary artery, going to the lungs, back through our pulmonary veins, through the left atrium, the left ventricle, aorta, out to the body. The oxygen gets taken up by the muscles, and then IVC and SVC, the inferior and superior vena cava, bring deoxygenated blood back to the right atrium, and this circuit then continues. All right, so the correct answer here is choice A. Hopefully that makes sense. Well, this is the end of this lecture. I hope you learned something.